Good afternoon, Internet. My name is Trygve Olsen. I am the Buzz Development Director here at BusyWeb. Today we're going to be talking about campaigns that drive action and talking about newsletters and announcements. This is something that we do here at BusyWeb every Wednesday at noon, so we thank you for joining you. And if you want to check out the other things that we do, I'd encourage you to go to busyweb.com to check out the calendar. Normally this is hosted by Dave Meyer at BusyWeb, and Dave is on vacation today, so hopefully you can bear with me. Last time I did one of these, I ended up pointing at my screen here in the office, which doesn't help you at home. If you do have any questions, and you want to ask me a question during the event, by all means, go to the right-hand side here where you'll see a blue spot that says questions, and you can answer anything that you want. And I'd be more than happy to stop what I'm doing and check in with you to make sure that you're finding this as helpful as possible. So without further ado, let's get started into our show. Today we're going to be talking about campaigns that drive action. So what exactly does that mean? At its core, marketing is the idea that it's intended to elicit a physical, measurable response. You don't just send a newsletter or post an update to Facebook or solicit feedback of some kind without having an objective in mind. So we're going to talk a lot today about the call to action as part of your communications. And what is a call to action? It's really to get somebody to actually do something and actually make something happen. So the goal here is to educate about goals and objectives. We're going to talk about marketing, and we're not going to talk about marketing principles and goals today. We're going to talk about campaigns. And what those are specifically, it's a collection of marketing activities that makes up an effort to drive a specific action to achieve a specific goal. So what does that mean? It means that we're going to be talking about communication and connecting with your customers. So if you'd like to get a hold of me, my name is Trygve Olsen again. This is my email address. You can also find us online at facebook.com/busyweb, or you can tweet us, and I'd encourage you to tweet us at BusyWeb. A little bit about BusyWeb and what we do. We are an online marketing and WordPress web design firm. So we can do everything under the sun when it relates to digital marketing. We can do logo design. We can do branding. We can build a website for you. We can improve your website. We can push traffic to your website. We can integrate with social media. We can even write your social media for us. So if you have any of those needs, I'd encourage you to reach out and talk to me. Again, my name is Trygve. But today we're just going to be working on just some basic high concepts and give you some best practices. So this event is also sponsored by Constant Contact. Constant Contact offers a great tool program that they call the Toolkit. The Toolkit has these 4 elements to it. What do you see?
I see your note screen.
Thanks, Jess. One of my helpful people just came in and told me you were seeing the wrong screen. So sorry about that, and hopefully you'll be more entertained moving forward. So the great suite of tools that you can get a lot of different things all in one place, which is really fantastic. So let's talk about what we're going to do today. First, we're going to talk about what exactly a campaign is, and we're going to make sure we're all on the same page in understanding what we mean when we say what is a newsletter. Next, we're going to talk about email and provide you with some good tried and true basic tips to help you increase your overall effectiveness when it comes to your email marketing. Next, we're going to figure out how does social media work within this. Can you do one or the other? No, the answer is no. You're going to have to end up doing both. So finally, we're going to talk at length about social media and about what you need to be doing in order to make sure that it works, talk about the big 5 networks and the next steps you can take. So let's get started. First thing we're going to talk about campaigns and newsletters. What exactly is marketing to start with? Well, marketing at its core is about eliciting a physical and measurable response. The best example I can give you is if you go to the convenience store and it's on a hot, miserable day and you see a large tub of soda right in front of the cash register, That's about eliciting a physical response. Because of the heat, they're wanting you to look at that pop and go, or soda if you're on the East Coast, and realize, hey, I'm really thirsty. This can be refreshing. And all you want to do is stick your hands in and pull out a nice, cool bottle of whatever you find. The value for that organization is they can turn around and measure what the difference is between how many pops are in the cooler and how many pops are in the tub right next to you. And they can judge whether or not they're successful or not. So keep in mind, as we discuss marketing, we talk about marketing campaigns and the way to deliver the most effective campaigns, you are wanting people to do something. Your clients, your customers, your donors, your supporters, you want them to do something. And basically, that's a campaign of some kind. A campaign, as I said earlier, is a collection of actions designed to get people to do something. And usually it fits into one of two categories. The first one is a push content campaign, where you're actually trying to talk to somebody and push information to them. Here is when we are open. Here are some of the things that we sell. Here is the value that we bring to your potential organization. Here's somebody who we worked with before that did very well. The next kind, as you can probably guess, is a pull response, where you're actually getting somebody to pull a response out of them. You want them to read something, forward, share what you send, show up, call, attend. You want to take an action of some kind. So when we're thinking about campaigns, think about it in terms of push-pull, and more importantly, don't just think about it as putting an offer out there and making a sale. In the new internet marketing world, it's more like a conversation. It lends itself to that advantage that we talked about if you having over big business. As a small company, basically, you can engage in a conversation that feels and is less like a sales gimmick, more like nurturing a relationship. If you're doing it right, it'll seem that way from both sides of the conversation. So what's a newsletter? Simply put, a newsletter is a communication that you can send to your customers, supporters, clients, whatever, and sharing relevant information, relevant insights that they want to read. Generally speaking, these days, newsletters are sent via email. The reason is it's incredibly inexpensive compared to the old way. The old ways of having to print everything out and stuff envelopes and then address envelopes and then stamp envelopes costs a large amount of money. This way, we can actually create a newsletter as a marketing tool, but also send it out very inexpensively. What are some different types of newsletters that are available to us? What are some different things that we can do? These, well, in the grand scheme of things, these are communications, loosely referred to as newsletters, but at the end of the day, these are sort of the basics. So the first one, to keep your audience in the know. Second is just a newsletter. Here's what's new. Third is a card or an announcement. Hey, guess what? We have a new person starting here. Fourth is a business letter explaining why your company did something. Similarly, a press release can be any of the above or fit into the idea of promotion. I'm being told that we're having a bit of an issue here, so give me a second to work this out. So let's see. This is my April Fool's joke that nothing is going to be working as it should. So, haha, whoever pulled this on me, good job. So let's try it this way. Let me just do one thing and go from there. I bet if I do it this way, it's going to work perfectly. And we were talking about email. And there we go. So now we're going to be talking about what do we write about and how do we write. So this is one of the biggest hurdles that most people have to jump. Luckily, the answer is relatively easy and relatively simple. So first and above all else, you write about what you know and what they don't know. So you share your knowledge, you raise your profile as an expert in your field, and you're going to be able to demonstrate that you're really a thought expert. You're really somebody who knows what they're doing and knows how to do it. Unlike how I'm presenting this today. So April Fools. So next, you want to write about what you have access to that everybody else doesn't. The best example that I can give you is mortgage professionals a lot of times have an idea of when interest rates are going to drop and when a good time is going to be to buy a house. So you in your business have more access than you might think. This might mean that you can let them download a special report, give them backstage passes, early registration, reserve special seating, something like that, and give it away when you can. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is build what's called a resource relationship, where if you get your audience to do something for you, you will give them something to it. Ultimately, what you're giving away is your knowledge and your access when you can. Third and most important, keep in mind, original isn't required. Just be interesting, just be relevant. This means that if you find content on the internet that you think is going to be helpful to your audience, you can share them and share that with them. But just make absolutely sure that that content is cited appropriately, and make sure it's interesting and relevant to your audience. So the next question is, well, gosh, now that I have some idea about what do I write about, how much should I write and how much should I post? So let me ask you this. Have you ever gotten a really long email that you really, really want to read all the way through as soon as you get it? Chances are good the answer is probably no. It's okay that it's okay that we see them, but we're not going to read them. So when we're building our emails, we want to make sure that less is more and that we focus. Because ultimately, when we're focusing on the three things that we really want our audience to hone in on, then they're really, truly going to hone in on that. Now, keep one more thing in mind, and we're going to revisit this a lot as we go on, that statistically speaking these days, 51% of all emails are read on mobile devices. So that means that over half of the emails are being read on a screen that's probably no bigger than 4 inches. So we want to keep that in mind as we're constructing our emails to make sure that how exactly we're doing it is not so overwhelming. And I'll give you some funny examples in a little bit, that it can be seen on a phone just as easily as it can be seen on a PC. We always want to make sure that we include pictures. A picture is really worth 1,000 words. So as we're looking at these, you see the Real Works, the one on the left. They've offered a piece from Time Magazine, which really gives it a little more gravitas that Time Magazine article is included. Again, it's not an original article, but it is interesting and it is relevant. Pizza places are great, and restaurants are great to show to show food and exactly what you get when you come into the restaurant. This is a demonstration of the service that you're going to get. The idea is not so much that you see, oh, they have salads. It's to see, hey, this is a really good looking salad, and I'm going to get hungry when I go eat there. Next, when we're doing a basic newsletter, you can see it's very clean, very easy to read on a tablet. And then finally, my favorite, the event invitation. You can see it's just a bowling event, but even within that, they've made it very interesting, made it very unique, and you can definitely tell just by looking at the picture, as opposed to saying, hey, let's go to a bowling event. You can see that this is truly going to be an exciting event. But remember that pictures get 7% more click-through activity than content without images. That being said, remember that 51% of mobile devices don't over-rely on images. And make sure, because 2/3 of email programs don't show images unless the user asks them, that you use text labels in case those images aren't displayed. And remember, don't necessarily use images of your content. What I mean by that is don't take pictures of words. Words need to be indexed and read by computers. And so just having a picture of it isn't enough. And then finally, your content is going to be viewed on a mobile device. So what you don't want to see happen is something like this, where those beautiful fishnet stocking legs are cut off. You don't see them all the way down to the knee. Or Would you really be interested in going to NB Fitnet? And join now and enrollment. Obviously, we can fill in the blanks and have a good idea of what that might be. But when people are making a buying decision and they have to figure out what exactly you're trying to sell them, chances are good that's going to hurt. Now, as much as we love having pictures, remember that some of your social channels really, truly thrive on having visual imagery. Email is one of them. In addition to that, Instagram is another. In addition, you can see there's a picture of a pizzeria. And then Pinterest especially is very much image focused and very image centric. So if you're using Pinterest, make sure that you have a lot of pictures that go along with. And so is Facebook as well. So the goal in what we're trying to do here is we want to repurpose and reuse our content. And we'll talk a little bit about social media later, but what I want you to keep in mind is the idea of dropping a pebble into the pond. The first drop that we drop into the pond is going to be our email marketing, and then every ripple that comes after that is going to be amplifying the original impact with social media marketing. Typically, when I look at an email, I ask myself 3 questions. Is this something I have to deal with now? Is this something that I have to deal with later? Or do I not have to deal with it at all? So these are 3 little words that are truly going to rule your world. How do we get around that? Well, the first thing we do is we ask, who is it from? When I look at an email, I say, is this somebody I know? Is this somebody that I trust? Is this somebody that I want to deal with today? Second, what exactly is the subject? Is it something that's interesting? Is it something that is alarming? Is it something that's intriguing enough to make me want to open an email? Give you an example of a really good subject line. My wife and I bought a new house about a year ago, and we recently got an email from our mortgage guy who says, I am watching your mortgage. It creeped me out just a little, but it was enough to get me to open my email from him to realize that he is continuously looking at the mortgage industry, and if he's available, if we need help, he's still out there. It was really effective, and it got me to open the email. And third, when exactly do you send your communication? Well, the answer to that is I don't know. It really truly depends on your audience. I will show you and work with you a little on how to figure out the best email time for your specific audience. So how do you win the battle of priorities? How do you get more people to stop and open your email or stop and read your Facebook post? Well, the first thing you need to ask yourself is, how will you be the most recognizable? Are you known more by your personal self, or are you known more by your business name? If you're known by your business name, make sure that you send emails out as your business name. If you're known more as a person, make sure that your email goes out as what you're most recognized as. For instance, my father's name is Stephen with a PH, S-T-E-P-H-E-N, but most people call him Steve. So if he sent out email as Stephen, that wouldn't be as effective as if you send an email out as Steve. It's not just an email, though. We want to make sure that through all of our social channels and everything that we do, everything is the same and everything is consistent. And we also want to make sure that anytime we send out emails, we are in compliance with the CAN-SPAM Act. So if you're curious about what that is and how to avoid getting in trouble with that, that's something that we can help you with here at BusyWeb. But you can also go to www.business.ftc.gov and search CAN-SPAM. You'll be able to read all about it. Let's talk a little bit about brand consistency and how you can look really great. So templates make the process of creating an email much easier while you're still maintaining your brand. So here are a couple examples of templates from Constant Contact, because that's what we at BusyWeb use more than anything. But whatever system you're using, make sure that they have mobile-friendly templates that are easy to edit to match your colors, and to make sure you make them your own with your logos and your photos and your links. It's not very hard to look professional and look sharp and look great. Now, you may have noticed the images in the first 2 here. Both of them are food. I'll just want to remind you to make sure that the images work both in a mobile email and in a desktop. In the first template, it looks really great, but the creator should really test it on a mobile device to see how much the images push the text below the fold. It might look great on a desktop, but not necessarily on a mobile device. Second one's a little bit better because there's a message located to the right of the image. So the message itself is the call to action. We are open for lunch. Come for lunch. Nevertheless, make sure that you test everything that you do on a mobile device. If you've got a mobile device, before you send it to your mass list, make sure you send it to yourself. So we talked a little bit about the subject line and winning the battle of priorities. Here's the best thing, that rule of thumb that I can give you to help you as you're writing your subject line. You have 2 seconds, and the first 2 words of your subject line to get somebody to do something today. It's the 2-2-2 principle. Ultimately, if you follow these rules, you can get people to open your email, but you need to make the first 2 words impactful, and you need to make the entire subject small enough that somebody can read it quickly, and make sure that you give them an impactful statement to get them to do something today. So here's some examples of some good and some bad subject lines. So how many of you have gotten an email that says March newsletter? Well, that's kind of a snooze. I don't necessarily have the time to read that today. So does that meet the 2-2-2 principle? Not necessarily. But this is a great one. Tomorrow, need 3 hammers. Can you help? First 2 words are tomorrow and need, so I know that there is a finite amount of time in which I can take an action. Next one, Joe's Pet Store newsletter. Well, that's great. What exactly should I do with Joe's Pet Store newsletter? I don't have to do anything with it today. Instead, think of it this way. Alert, help your dog beat the heat. Now, as I'm recording this, I'm in upper Minnesota, and it's a lovely 62 degrees, but eventually it's going to get awfully hot and awfully warm, and I want to make sure that my dog's safe. So those first 2 words, alert, help, that's going to grab somebody's attention. Third, children's classes. Well, that's kind of okay, but if you're a parent like I am, you know that those go fast, and you also know that if your kids are banging on a pot today, you're going to want to make sure that you give them an opportunity to give you blessed silence. So how about this? Still time, opening for children's classes. Immediately then we know what we're doing. Oh my goodness, there's still time. That means that there's not time now, and I'm going to have to do something quickly in order to get to get my kid in that class. So the last piece in winning the battle of priorities is the timing. When do we send our emails, and how often do we send? So for email newsletters, generally monthly is the most common. So the best thing to think about, though, however, is when are the readers most likely to take the action I want? So if you're running a bar, for instance, the best time to send an email is Thursday morning, because you want to advertise your happy hour specials. But ultimately, finding your best day is something that you're going to have to work on. And here I'll tell you how. First, divide your list into 3 groups of people. It doesn't matter if it's an exact amount, but we want to divide our list into 3 groups of people: Group A, Group B, Group C. Then we're going to send our email out. We're going to send the same email out 3 times to our 3 groups of people. And then we're going to watch our metrics and our reporting, which is something that Constant Contact gives us, to see when our best responses are. And hypothetically, in this scenario, we can tell that based on our 3 groups and our 3 sends, we know that Wednesday is our best day to send it out. Now, Constant Contact will tell you that Tuesday and Wednesday between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. is the best time to send out an email. However, Constant Contact has more than a million email clients. So it's good to go through this process and figure out what exactly is best for you. So we've gotten a hypothetical day to send it out, but now when is the best time to send it out? Well, we follow the same process as we did before. Number 1, use the same 3 groups of people that we used before. And number 2, select 3 times on that day that we're going to send out our email and figure out when is the best result. The way we do that is we note the time with the best results based on the action that we wanted people to take. Not just whether or not they opened it, whether or not they actually did it. So at the end of this process, we should be able to figure out that on 2:30 on Wednesday, we are going to get the most amount of action. Now, what's the difference between action and open rate? An open rate is somebody who actually opens your email, but an action rate is somebody who truly did something with it. They clicked here, they read more, they shared that. So that's ultimately what we want, is we want people to have an action, not just open the email. Openings are great to a point, but ultimately the goal here is, again, we're trying to get people to have a physical and measurable response. So we need them to truly do something. So here's some practical advice to give you an idea of how to create your best email. Remember, 2/3 don't see images by default, and text links get more clicks than buttons. So if you have something that says read more, that's going to get a lot more clicks as opposed to a big button that says buy now. Make sure you place your logo on the left or center of the email. Why is that? Well, it's because most email programs have a preview window where they only show the left side of the email. So just by having your logo on the left means that you're going to pick up a little bit of wind speed without having to do anything differently. Finally, make sure that you include your company name in text form so that the company can truly see. So not only anybody who can't see the images, but also computers that are indexing your emails can read it and know who it's from later. A couple more pieces of practical advice. First of all, make sure that your key action is above the scroll line. What exactly is the scroll line? It's that place at the bottom of the computer screen or the mobile screen where the end user has to scroll down to read more information. Don't give too many choices. If we remember, we're wanting somebody to do something, but if we give them 6 different choices, they're going to have 6 different things that they want to do. Ultimately, what we're going to want to do is give them 1 or 2 choices and read here or share here. And make sure all your images are clickable with text labels. Remember, your images are probably not going to show up immediately until the end user asks for them. So make sure that you label them as something interesting to entice the people to look at it. And finally, the most important thing I can tell you is test it on yourself. Send it to yourself first. Send it to yourself and look at it on your mobile device. If you don't have a mobile device, share it with somebody who does to get an idea of what exactly it looks like. So before we move on, I'm going to check and see if we have any questions. It doesn't look like we have any questions yet. If you do, again, keep in mind you can do it right over here and on the left side of your right side of your screen. So let's get back to the show. Next, we're going to talk about email and social working together. We've talked a little bit about newsletters and how to make those effective. So let's talk about how to amplify that using social media. We're not going to go into real great depth about what social channels might be best for you or the specifics or what to say or how to say it. We do offer some other webinars based on that we can help you with. But ultimately, the goal here is we want to use our social media channels to amplify the impactfulness of our emails. So you might have wondered if you need to be focused on both social and email marketing or had somebody tell you, oh my goodness, you got to be on social media, you got to do this, without a true understanding of why. Well, here's a good reason as to why. In 2008, just 7 years ago, 10% of all small businesses were using social media marketing. Those are where you get those great stories and those great urban legends about people quintupling their business based on social media. That doesn't truly happen as much anymore, but back in the day, it was definitely possible. Now, today, 87% of all small businesses are using social media marketing. It's quite a statistic. It shows how integral social media has become as a marketing tool, but when we say it works, what exactly does that mean? Does it work for small businesses, nonprofits, everybody? Then what exactly is it about it that works? So, well, first of all, it influences decisions. How many times have you looked at your Facebook page and a friend of yours has said, hey, can you recommend a really good plumber? The reason that happens is 74% of all people rely on social networks to guide purchasing decisions. Similarly, 55% of all people share a purchase on social networks. It could be something as simple as a new toy for your son, or something as big as, hey, look at the pictures of our new house. And if you work for a nonprofit, realize that almost 70% of people learn more about a charity if they see a friend posting about it. So getting those donors to truly engage with you and push your message out farther and talk about their interaction is definitely helpful. So you have to use both email and social. And the reason is, independently of each other, they work good to a point, but when they work together, you can amplify your email into your social channels, because that gives you a piece of content to share across many social channels. And then the goal of that is you want to drive people and traffic back to your list, to grow your email list, to look at things on your website, to take the action that we truly want people to take. So here's an example of one business that is really getting it done well with email and social working together. Boloco is a burrito chain based on the East Coast. It's kind of like Chipotle. So they use a lot of the best practices. You can see on the left, that's a newsletter that they've shared. But what they do is they push it out to their Facebook page. They tweet about it. They also post it to their YouTube page, and they even share it on their Pinterest page. So by taking that one piece of content and amplifying it into their other social channels, they're actually getting a lot more interaction and a lot more visibility. So and you can tell looking at all of the different platforms, they use brand consistency, and they use great images, and they use good subject lines. So no matter which channel you're looking at, you're clear that you're looking at the Boloco channel. So here's an example of a nonprofit that leverages email and social together and does it very, very well. So like Boloco, they carry their branding across each of the platforms. You can see on the left is an email, but then LinkedIn, they've got Facebook, and they've also got Twitter as well. So they're using the images in their channels, and they have a lot of great original content. But you can see they're taking this one piece of content that they originally sent via their email, then they push it out to LinkedIn, they push it out to Facebook, they push it out to Twitter, and it works automatically. So here's a business that does the same kind of thing. I added this in because, of course, it's tax time. So we want to give props to all the accountants out there who are working to make sure we all get some refunds. Taxes are not the most interesting thing in the world, but you can see just by looking at the newsletter that it's branded really well, and it's branded professionally. You look at that and you think, yeah, these people definitely might be able to help me. But as you look further into their Google Plus, into their Twitter page, and even into their Pinterest page, all of the branding is consistent. And so when they take their newsletter, they push it out to the right to those channels. The goal is to get people to come back, look at the email, look at the website, and actually sign up to have more interactions. So we talked about a lot of different things. I'm going to check and see if anybody's got a question yet. Doesn't look like they do. So we're going to get back to the show. And we'll talk about what are our next steps and what are some simple ways that we can make our lives a little easier and a little better. Well, the first thing I encourage you to look at is a simple share tool. Now, this is an example of Constant Contact's simple share tool. So it makes it easy to push your email campaigns and your events and your surveys or something like that out to multiple channels with just a few clicks. So if I, as an end user, click that simple share button, that gray button on the left, I could choose whether or not I wanted to post it to Facebook, Twitter, or anything else. Similarly, make sure that you have your social channels posted at the bottom of every newsletter that you send out. They look kind of like this, social share buttons or social buttons. That you want to make sure that anytime anybody's reading your newsletter, they have the opportunity to easily find you on the different social channels. Offline works just as well. If you've got a restaurant, having a sign-up sheet at the register or even in a retail environment works great. Statistically speaking, in a retail environment, 6 out of 10 times people will give their email address if you just ask. You can also do registration forms. You can also ask people to sign up with their check at the end of the meal. Online, though, the easiest way to grow your list is by having a web sign-up tool. Something on your website where you're actually saying, hey, we have a lot of great information here, join our mailing list. Similarly, there are a lot of different widgets you can use if you have a WordPress site, and also Constant Contact is a great tie-in app that works on your Facebook page, where all you have to do is add it to your Facebook page and people can sign up to join your list. Scan to Join is another Constant Contact tool that's really great. It creates a QR code that if somebody scans it, they'll automatically be joined to your email list. And Text to Join is another Constant Contact tool that's really great. So ultimately, I talk a lot about Constant Contact today, but really the value is they've got just about every tool that you might need to help grow your business and grow your list. That being said, here's some other ones that aren't necessarily Constant Contact. iCapture Email is a great one. Shoebox is a wonderful one as well, and so is Wise Stamps. And this will help you with the collection of email addresses. Chances are you probably have some email addresses that you don't even know about that you can help grow your list. So the next thing I'd encourage you to do is create a content calendar for all of your channels. Reason is you want to make sure that you optimize your time. You want to make sure that everything that you do is helpful. So here's an example one that is really great. You can see every Monday posting to Facebook and Pinterest a motivational quote. And then at the beginning of the month, we post a blog post, which then gets recycled into newsletters, into our social channels, etc. You can see, we're going to do two potential news or promotions during the month. We don't want to do a lot of those because the more we do, the more they get watered down. There's a store up here in the upper Midwest called Wilson's Leather. It's a great store. You can get a lot of really great leather products, but they've been having a going out of business sale for going on about 15 years now. So anytime you have an offer, you want to make sure that somebody has a sense of urgency and they don't do something today. So just in wrapping up, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about BusyWeb and a little bit more about what we do. We offer web design. We also do web revamps. So if you've got a website that you think is underperforming, we can definitely help you with that. We host websites. We train you how to use your website, and we even back your website up for you. In addition to that, we offer a lot of online marketing tools and strategies that can help grow your business by making you more visible, easy to be, making you found more, or even have the opportunity to promote your business. So today, as we are wrapping up, I wanted to give you the opportunity that if you're interested in signing up for Constant Contact, we can get you a 60-day free trial. Where you can sign up, try it. You don't have to give them a credit card, and you've got 2 months to try it out. We do a lot of local learning here at BusyWeb. Every Wednesday at noon, we offer our Busy webinar, which you are taking in part of today. But Constant Contact also has a lot of local seminars, some of which I teach, some of which Dave, who is another one of our Busy Webbers here, teaches. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out on busyweb.com. And if you want help, we are here to help you. We can talk to you about how to grow your list and how to really make it impactful. And again, for those of you who are watching live, thank you for helping me with bearing with me through my technical issues. And Dave hopefully will be back next week. But each event is posted to YouTube. So if you cannot make the event, definitely check out our YouTube channel and check it out. So once again, I'm going to check and see if we have any questions. Doesn't look like we have any questions. So we really appreciate all of your time, and I really appreciate you bearing with me through my technical foibles. And hopefully you have a prank-free April Fool's Day. And thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you next week at busyweb.com.